It's that time of year again. WWDC is here and Apple just dropped a whole truckload of software updates, and even a little bit of hardware on us for 2025. There is a lot to talk about, from the expected yearly updates to the operating systems we use every single day, to some genuinely surprising one more thing moments. We're going to break down everything you need to know, and give you the top 10 biggest takeaways from this year's conference. Let's get straight into it and unpack what Apple has been cooking up for the next year of tech. This year feels foundational, like Apple is laying down the tracks for where they want to take their entire product lineup for the next 5 years. Let's get into the top 10 highlights, starting with the software that powers the phone in all of our pockets. Alright, let's talk about iOS 19. Apple is coming out swinging with a massive evolution of the lock screen and dynamic island. It's all about making information more glanceable and interactive without unlocking your phone. Imagine a live, updating map directly on your lock screen. You can now have 2 live activities running at once. iOS 19 introduces Smart Stacks for notifications on the lock screen. It will intelligently group your notifications not just by app, but by context. This isn't just a cosmetic update, it's a platform shift, making the lock screen the new home for glanceable, live data. Beyond the lock screen, Apple is infusing more intelligence throughout the entire operating system, and a big part of that is the redesigned control center. It's now fully customizable, and I mean fully. You can resize toggles, move them anywhere on the grid, and even create multiple pages of controls. So you could have one page for all your smart home devices, another for media playback, and a third for your most used system toggles like Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. It's a level of personalization that Android users have had for a while, but Apple's implementation is, as you'd expect, incredibly slick and polished, with beautiful animations. Another major improvement is coming to the Photos app. They've rebuilt the search functionality from the ground up, powered by the new Apple Intelligence we'll talk about later. You can now search with incredibly natural language queries like, "Show me all my photos from the beach in California last summer that have my dog in them." The on-device processing can recognize objects, people, locations, and even activities with a much higher degree of accuracy than ever before. It also introduces a feature called Photo Journeys, which automatically curates little video slideshows from your trips and events, complete with music and transitions. Messages is also getting some key quality-of-life updates. The big one is scheduled sending, a feature that users have been requesting for years. You can now type out a message and schedule it to be sent at a specific time and date. They've also added more robust formatting options, including bold, italics, and underlining, bringing it more in line with other modern messaging apps. And for tapbacks, you can now react with any emoji you want, not just the pre-selected 6. It's a series of small, iterative changes that, when combined, make messages feel more modern and capable. Finally, Apple Maps is getting a significant upgrade with more detailed 3D city experiences and, more importantly, multi-stop routing. You can now plan a trip with multiple destinations in between your start and end points, which is a game changer for road trips or running errands. The app will intelligently calculate the most efficient route and update your ETA as you go. They're also integrating more third-party data, so you can see things like restaurant reservations or event ticket information directly within the Maps interface. It's clear Apple is continuing to invest heavily in making Maps a true competitor. Next up, we have the new version of macOS, and this year it's called macOS Mammoth. A fitting name because the theme this year is all about powerful, foundational changes, especially in how the Mac works with your other Apple devices. The headline feature is something they're calling Continuity Studio, and it's a pretty wild evolution of handoff and universal control. Essentially, it creates a seamless, unified workspace across your Mac, iPad, and even your iPhone. It's not just about sharing a mouse and keyboard anymore, it's about sharing entire app windows and workflows. Imagine you're editing a video in Final Cut Pro on your Mac. With Continuity Studio, you can literally drag a clip from your Mac's timeline and drop it onto your iPad, which could be running a color grading app like DaVinci Resolve. You can make your adjustments on the iPad using the Apple Pencil, and the changes are reflected in real time back on your Mac's timeline. It's a bi-directional, high-bandwidth connection that treats your separate devices as a single modular computer. The potential for creative and professional workflows here is just immense, breaking down the walls between different form factors. This extends beyond just Pro apps. They showed a demo where a user was on a FaceTime call on their Mac, and they wanted to quickly sketch out an idea. They could open a freeform board on their iPad, and it would instantly appear as a shared window within the FaceTime call on the Mac, allowing everyone to collaborate on the same canvas in real time. It's a much deeper integration than simple screen mirroring. It's about sharing interactive app instances across devices. The underlying technology seems incredibly complex, but the user-facing experience they showed off was impressively simple and intuitive. Another key part of this is Universal Clipboard 2.0. Now, when you copy something on one device, it doesn't just copy the content, it copies the context. For example, if you copy a block of code in Xcode on your Mac and then paste it into a note on your iPhone, it will maintain its formatting and syntax highlighting. If you copy a layered image from Photoshop on your Mac, you can paste it into Procreate on your iPad with all the layers intact. This contextual awareness makes the simple act of copy and paste feel so much more powerful and intelligent across the ecosystem. Beyond continuity, macOS Mammoth introduces a significant visual and functional overhaul to the desktop itself. The biggest change is the introduction of interactive desktop widgets, something that feels like a natural evolution from what we saw on the iPhone and iPad. But on the Mac, they're even more powerful. You can have a full-size music widget that lets you browse your library and control playback, or a stocks widget with interactive charts, all without ever opening the full application. They can be placed anywhere on the desktop and intelligently move out of the way to make room for app windows. The dock and mission control are also getting a facelift. The dock now has a dedicated section for recent apps that intelligently surfaces applications you might need based on your current workflow or the time of day. Mission control has been redesigned to better handle multiple desktops or spaces, especially for users with multiple monitors. You can now name your spaces, like work, personal, or design, and assign specific apps and wallpapers to each one. When you switch to that space, it brings up that entire pre-configured environment, making it much easier to compartmentalize different tasks. System settings, which replaced system preferences a couple of years ago, continues to be refined. The layout has been reorganized based on user feedback to make it more logical and easier to find specific settings. The search function is now much faster and more accurate, and it provides direct links to the exact toggle or slider you're looking for, saving you from having to dig through multiple sub-menus. It's a quality-of-life update for sure, but a welcome one for anyone who has ever gotten lost trying to find a specific setting. Finally, Safari is getting a big update focused on privacy and profiles. You can now create separate profiles within Safari, for example, for work and personal use. Each profile has its own separate history, cookies, extensions, and bookmarks, effectively creating two different browsers within one app. They also introduced enhanced tracking protection that uses on-device intelligence to block more sophisticated cross-site trackers, further solidifying Safari's position as a privacy-first browser. It's a robust set of updates that makes the core Mac experience feel both fresh and more powerful. Apple Intelligence threads through the entire ecosystem, deeply integrated into iOS and macOS. It's personal, private, and aware of your context, proactively helping on any device. A hybrid model uses on-device processing for speed and privacy, and private cloud compute for complex tasks. This personal intelligence system understands your context without compromising privacy. Powered by Apple's own foundation models, it's efficient and secure. This deep integration is Apple's advantage. Apple Intelligence shows up everywhere, from writing tools to the Photos app. System-wide, in any app you can rewrite text in different tones, proofread, or summarize long threads. The Photos app now has supercharged search. Image Playground lets you create images from text prompts. Siri is getting a big overhaul with on-screen awareness and the ability to take multi-step commands across apps. Notifications are now prioritized intelligently, with AI summaries for less critical alerts. This makes your phone feel less distracting and more focused. Next up, the second generation of Apple's spatial computer, Vision Pro 2. The focus is on refinement and accessibility, visibly slimmer and 20% lighter. The chassis is now a magnesium alloy, lighter and stronger than the original aluminum. Powered by the M4 chip, a massive leap in performance. Upgraded displays, described as second-generation micro OLED panels with a higher pixel density and improved brightness. They also mentioned a wider field of view, a key metric for immersion. Incredible hardware needs incredible software, and that's where visionOS 2 comes in, built to take full advantage of the Vision Pro's power and Apple Intelligence. One of the biggest new features is shared spaces, allowing multiple users to interact in a shared physical space. They also introduced persistent spaces, letting you anchor your digital workspace to a specific physical location. Apple Intelligence is also deeply integrated. Siri is now spatially aware. They showed you can look at any object, and Siri can identify it. Finally, they announced a major push for new content, partnering with sports leagues for immersive experiences. And crucially, they're launching Final Cut Pro for visionOS. watchOS 12 focuses on a smarter, more proactive Apple Watch experience. Live faces dynamically change throughout the day based on your context. The Smart Stack intelligently reorders widgets. Notifications are intelligently grouped and summarized. The control center is now customizable, letting you choose which buttons appear and their order. It shows Apple is still refining the core user experience. Of course, it wouldn't be a watchOS update without a major focus on health and fitness, and watchOS 12 delivers some really interesting new features. The headline feature is recovery tracking. The watch will now analyze your sleep quality, heart rate variability, HRV, and recent workout intensity to give you a daily recovery score. This score, presented on a simple scale, helps you understand if your body is ready for a hard workout, or if you should take it easy with a rest day or some light activity. This moves the watch beyond just tracking what you've done to providing actionable advice on what you should do next. Building on that, the workout app is getting new sports modes, including dedicated tracking for things like tennis and soccer, which can now measure things like swing power or sprint distance during a match. But the more significant update is for runners. watchOS 12 introduces AI-powered gait analysis. Using the motion sensors in the watch, it can now analyze your running form in real time, providing feedback on things like your cadence, vertical oscillation, and ground contact time. It can even give you live audio cues through your AirPods to help you make adjustments mid-run to improve your efficiency and reduce your risk of injury. On the health side, they are introducing hydration tracking. This is more than just a manual water log. The watch will use your body weight, activity level, and even the local weather and humidity to create a personalized, daily hydration target. It will then send you smart reminders throughout the day to drink water. It can even integrate with smart water bottles to automatically log your intake. Dehydration can have a huge impact on everything from physical performance to mental clarity, so having your watch proactively manage this for you is a genuinely useful new health feature. And finally, there's a significant update for mental wellness. The mindfulness app is being expanded into a new app called Reflect. It still includes the breathing exercises and meditation prompts, but it now incorporates AI-powered journaling. At the end of the day, it can prompt you with intelligent questions based on your day's events, your meetings, your workouts, the photos you took, to help you reflect on your mood and stress levels. All of this data is, of course, encrypted and stored on device in the Health app, creating a private, long-term picture of your mental well-being alongside your physical health metrics. For years, the iPad has been caught between being a consumption device and a pro-level computer. With iPadOS 19, Apple is leaning into that pro narrative with a completely redesigned multitasking system called Dynamic Layouts. It's a huge step up from Stage Manager, offering a fluid, intuitive canvas where you can have up to 5 apps open. The core is the new Focus Shelf, a supercharged dock for app groups. Apple introduced Inter-App Canvas, taking drag and drop to a new level with context-aware data sharing. The Files app is getting a massive overhaul, finally offering a dual-pane view and enhanced external drive support. It's basically Files App Pro, powerful enough for a professional workflow. A more powerful OS needs Pro apps. Apple announced Logic Pro and Final Cut Pro for iPad are getting feature parity with their desktop counterparts. This transforms the iPad Pro into a primary workstation. A new API framework called ProKit helps developers bring their desktop applications to the iPad. The big one is Live Markup, which lets you use the pencil to annotate anything on the screen. iPadOS 19 offers true extended desktop mode, not just mirroring with proper display scaling. You can essentially have a full-blown desktop setup powered by your iPad. Let's switch gears to the silicon that powers it all. Apple debuted the M4 chip, and its first home is a new MacBook Pro. The M4 isn't just about raw speed, it's about efficiency. The real story is the neural engine. Apple has quadrupled the number of cores, delivering up to 50 trillion operations per second. This is the hardware that makes all the new Apple Intelligence features fly. The new MacBook Pro lineup is streamlined around this new chip. The new MacBook Pro is thinner and lighter. And they finally brought a new color to the Pro line, Starlight. They're calling the display the Liquid Retina XDR Pro, and the key technology here is tandem OLED. The option for a matte nano texture finish is available. It's easily the best display ever put in a laptop. The new MacBook Pro is packed with pro features. The webcam gets a 1440p sensor and the new 6-speaker array delivers deeper bass. Connectivity improvements include Wi-Fi 7 and Thunderbolt 5 ports. The SD card slot also gets an upgrade to support UHS 3 speeds. Battery life remains a strength, with up to 22 hours of video playback on the 16-inch model. The Magic Keyboard has been tweaked, and the Force Touch trackpad now has predictive haptics. Apple unveiled HomeOS, a dedicated operating system for the smart home. Designed to unify every smart device, it uses the Home Canvas, a three-dimensional map of your home accessible on all your devices. Tapping a light on the canvas turns on the actual light. HomeOS learns your routines using on-device Apple Intelligence, proactively suggesting automations to save energy. Privacy is central, data stays on device. Guest keys grant temporary restricted access, expiring automatically when needed. HomeOS is built on an open foundation with native support for Matter and Thread. Apple announced the Home Hub, a central brain for HomeOS, ensuring local and instant automation. HomeOS integrates deeply with Apple devices. Apple is opening HomeOS to developers with new APIs, enabling richer integrated smart home experiences. It's an ambitious start. Apple just dropped a classic one more thing, the AirPods Ultra. This isn't just a spec bump, it's a ground-up rethinking of high-fidelity audio, aimed at audiophiles. The design blends the Mac Pro's industrial aesthetic with the AirPods Max's sleekness, using titanium and carbon fiber for lighter weight. New custom 50mm dual magnet drivers with beryllium diaphragms achieve near-zero distortion. Apple's not just competing with consumer headphones, they're targeting studio-grade brands. The new H3 chip enables personalized spatial rendering using your iPhone's True Depth camera to create a custom HRTF. Adaptive Transparency Pro uses high-bandwidth microphones to analyze sound in real time, selectively dampening harsh noises while keeping you aware. The AirPods Ultra earn their Ultra moniker with Pro connectivity, including support for true bit-perfect lossless audio via a new high-bandwidth wireless protocol. This creates a dedicated high-fidelity link between the AirPods Ultra and new M4 MacBooks or iPhones, bypassing Bluetooth limitations. For purists, a USB-C port supports direct digital audio input, bypassing internal conversion. A braided USB-C to 3.5mm cable and quarter-inch adapter are included. Designed for creators and audio engineers, the AirPods Ultra also boast increased battery life. Expect 30 hours of listening with ANC and spatial audio. Qi 2 charging and fast charging are supported. At $799, these are a premium product for those seeking the best audio experience Apple offers. After the hardware announcements, we get to the most important part of the keynote, the developer tools and APIs. The big headline is the full public release of Reality Composer Pro 2, with a new dynamic world mapping API for real-time environment understanding. Apple is also expanding Apple Intelligence APIs, like the new Intelligent Summarization API for text, audio, and video. For Swift, they introduced Structured Concurrency 2.0 and showcased massive improvements to Swift UI, making development faster and more powerful. A huge theme is synergy across the entire product line. Nothing embodies this more than the new HomeOS SDK, a dedicated set of tools for building smart home apps. This cross-platform focus extends to macOS Mammoth and iPadOS 19, with Project Amalgamation, making it easier to bring iPad apps to the Mac. For game developers, the updates to Metal 4 are a huge deal. Apple is introducing hardware-accelerated mesh shading on the new M4 chips. Xcode 17 now includes an AI-powered code review assistant that can analyze your code and suggest improvements. They also streamlined the test flight and App Store submission process. So that was WWDC 2025. From iOS 19 and macOS Mammoth to Apple Intelligence, software and AI are at the core of Apple's strategy. The Vision Pro 2 shows they are all in on spatial computing, and the new M4 MacBook Pro continues to push performance. Plus, the surprise AirPods Ultra carves out a new tier for audio. Which announcement are you most excited about? Let me know in the comments below and be sure to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.